Armstrong axioms or inference rules, and these inference rules basically deal with functional dependencies, or you can say these rules are the rules of functional dependencies in database relations. So there are 3 primary rules and 3 secondary rules. So the primary rules are reflexive rule. Reflexive rule means an attribute can determine itself or its subpart. So the example is x can determine itself, x can determine x, that is right, or x can determine its subset, like x can determine y if y is subset of x or y is subpart of x. The next is augmentation rule. Augmentation means if x can determine y, then xa can determine ya. So you are appending a with both x and y. And third is transitive rule. Transitive rule means if x can determine y and y can determine z, then it implies that x can determine z. And next is these were 3 primary rules, and next we have 3 secondary rules. In the secondary rules, the first rule is decomposition rule, and it means you can decompose the right hand side of a functional dependency. Like if you have a functional dependency that says x can determine y z, you can also write it like x can determine y and x can determine z. So you are decomposing the right hand side, y and z. And similarly, the union rule says you can combine the right hand side of 2 functional dependencies into one. Like if x can determine y and y can determine z, and x can determine z, then you can also write it as x can determine y z. The final thing is pseudo transitive rule. So it's a an augmentation of transitive rule. It says x can determine r and rb can determine z. Then you can also say that xb can determine z. So if you simply see the transitive rule, x can determine r and r can determine z, then definitely x can determine z. And here you are appending b with r, so you can append the same b with x as well. So this is the pseudo transitive rule.